What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the universe, and welcome to part 5 of the official, unofficial universe, My Hero Academia Season 5 review. I am John Kearns. Today I am joined by Tim Farley and a new person,
Brianna.
She's brand new. She came out like this.
Wow. So,
She's an anomaly, a scientific anomaly.
let's see. You have just gotten caught up with all of My Hero Academia within the past month and a half, I'd say.
Yeah. Yep, just binged it all.
That is the best way to watch this show. That's how I've watched this show 3 times now. So we just
definitely
watched.
transition though, going to the subtitle.
Yeah, definitely.
The whole entire thing being dubbed.
Absolutely. Tim, you started bringing on this journey, did you not?
I don't remember.
What do you mean? Did you?
Yes, I did.
So we just watched episode 93. It is titled Operation New Improv Moves. What did you guys think of the episode before we get into the full breakdown?
That was exciting. When it was over, I was like, oh geez, that's already the end. You know?
Agreed.
That's exactly how the last episode was too.
Yeah.
These episodes are flying.
They're action packed.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
I was very happy to see my boy Tokiyami get some spotlight, and his rival is pretty sweet.
Yeah, his rival. We'll get into that a little bit, but he's another one of those kids that's trying to be a hero that seems more suited to follow the other path.
Yeah, for sure.
And he's one that I think might actually go that way, but we'll get into that in a little bit. The episode starts with a recap of the first fight between Class B and the Class A plus Shinso team. We got a little bit of back and forth with everybody just feeling down on themselves for what they got wrong, feeling good about what they got right. Mr. Vlad hilariously reprimanding his students. And we had all of Class A point out what they did wrong in the match. Tim, do you remember what some of those were?
Yeah, I believe that Aizawa told Kirishima that he needs to focus on trying to bring a one-on-one fight to... I always forget his fucking name.
Anima.
Yeah.
Koji.
Yeah, to Koji. Koji
Yeah.
already knew. Koji said, I need to be more accurate with my descriptions to the insects. And Aizawa kind of said, you need to play from behind and not in the front.
Yeah.
He basically just kind of told Froppy that you need to focus more on the mistake than covering up the mistake than the mistake.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like, you didn't really do anything bad to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Kaminari. With Kaminari, he was the only one who was like, oh, I'm so awesome. I did a great job, you know? And Aizawa was like, nobody, like, you don't know how to do anything until somebody's in trouble. And then you step your game up. You gotta start fighting.
Yeah, and then the dude who shoots tape out and somebody else.
Don't make the mistake of feeling confident within earshot of Mr. Aizawa.
And they said, you know, they were talking about Froppy and Kirishima and saying how they were in the Shai Hasai attack and that them going into a fight would change their motivation and how they would approach the situation, even in this kind of environment. And then Shinso was frustrated because he only got to use like 10% of what he could do with the
binding cloth.
Tape. Yeah.
binding cloth. And Aizawa said, "It took me 6 years to master it, and don't forget that frustration when moving forward." And that made Midnight get all excited and was like, "Oh my god, the freshness of Shinso!"
Yeah, she was loving on Shinso for sure. And All Might was like reflecting on that and thinking like, oh, it's good that he's frustrated because that shows that like he wants to improve. And Aizawa was kind of like, well, you know, he might get into the hero course with this.
Yeah, ever since All Might's forced retirement, he's become so much better of a teacher, I think.
Yeah, I'd agree with that because his focus is just there.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in the episode where they were training and Deku saved him from
the falling rocks.
Because he came like right in and started telling all these different people what they could do.
People other than Midoriya.
Right. And I remember Aizawa saying to himself, how did he suddenly get good at this?
And then it zoomed in on his back pocket and he had like a teaching for dummies book or something. But yeah. We go from the reflection to the new stuff. The next contest is going to be Team Kendo.
Oh.
What's happening?
What were you going to say about Vlad?
No, I was going to say, before we got to the next contest, we saw all the teams on Class A talking.
Well, yeah. I was going to say that.
Oh, I was just going to say, so Aizawa talked to Class 1A's group about, you know, where they can improve. And then they show Vlad, who seems like a total hothead all the time. And he's just kind of yelling at his team that was in there saying, you guys can't work together. Like, you put everything on Aibara, the girl with the vines.
Yeah.
Like, you guys need to work as a team. So, like, we already kind of knew that, like, Class 1A was really good at working as a team, except for Bakugo. But, you know. So, like, they're showing that is one of the downfalls. So.
Say what you want to about Bakugo.
Bakugo.
Yeah, like when they're all talking.
Oh, so, yeah, and then right after that, it shows everyone's, like, strategizing for Class 1A. They're like, oh, man, that's what we should do now. And so, like, even though their fights aren't coming up yet, each group sits down. They start thinking about ways that they can.
Yeah, I really liked that being shown.
But Bakugo was the only one who was like, get away from me.
Oh, it's Bakugo.
Yeah, team was like,
yeah, and he basically said FUBU. He was like, this is for me, by me.
Yes.
Yeah.
He said FUBU. I thought that too.
And like, it was just like, man.
Have you learned anything? Like, honestly.
What an ass clown.
I don't understand how people like him. It's like one step forward, 5 steps back, right?
All the time.
All the time.
I mean, hey. But he shows up when it counts.
True.
So, the next contest, who's all in the second match, Tim? We got Kendo.
Brianna took the notes.
I took notes.
Let's go.
So, Kendo, we got Big Fist, Kurohiro, who is Vanta Black or Vanta Dark, Fukidashi, which is Comic Man, which we didn't really see anything from him yet.
Yeah.
And then Kamori, who has the Cork of Mushroom. And you see that a little bit at the end, but we mostly saw Kurohiro in this.
Yeah, I gotta say, you said Vanta Black, and I want to know why his name isn't Vanta Black, because that's amazing. That should be his name.
That is his hero name.
Is it?
Well, I went on the wiki.
For some reason, I didn't think that that's what they said, but whatever.
It isn't. They said
dark. They said something else.
Said it was dark.
The subtitles changed black to dark. So, like, his quirk in the show, it said dark, but it's actually black.
Okay.
And then he was called Vanta Dark, but he's really called Vanta Black.
Yeah, he's the scheming hero. It said that too.
Exactly. How this kid's gonna be a villain, right?
Yeah. I mean, and his attitude kind of seems that way too.
Like he already, like I'd say he's even more villainous than you might say Bakugo is.
I mean, I don't know. Like, you got to think. I'm gonna make a weird analogy. In the latest Pokemon anime,
Yeah.
Ash uses a Gengar.
Yeah.
So,
well,
like,
that's true.
So like
He was kind of Gengarish, huh?
yeah, for sure. Like the face, you know,
Yeah.
like the grin. So like, you know, he could go either way. I could definitely see him eventually becoming a villain, but right now, you know, he's trying to be a hero and
Yeah.
he wants to be the dark hero. So he singles out Tokiyami.
Well,
He said we share a destiny.
yeah.
You know, he has Tokiyami has dark shadow, but this guy blends in with the shadows and can control them.
That he said something to the effect, or Tokiyami said something to the effect like hail to the shadows or like live in the shadows or something like that. And
He also said
I've always
deep.
Oh yeah, he said deep shadow, deep something, and then
into the deep or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
I've always
the other
viewed,
dude was like eternal darkness.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I was like, this is metal as fuck.
Yeah, it is. I've always viewed, and I think you'll agree, I view Tokiyami as Class 1A's Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
But-
cerebral.
Yeah.
He's in the back. He's thinking of ways to win constantly.
And he's more adept at like the stealth operations. Yeah.
Yeah, there's an episode in the school not the festival, but the what was the thing where they fought each other the first time?
It was just like their class, like
That was
thing.
just like a training thing, yeah.
No, it was like the Olympics.
No, are you talking about when they fought in that big skyscraper or the sports festival?
The sports festival.
Okay.
And he was in the crowd with Ida.
Yeah.
And he was commenting on a match, and Ida was like, "You're so wise."
Yeah, that was very nice. It was so funny. He said something, and that was his response. I thought that was so funny.
Yeah.
All right, so Bree, who is on Class 1? Who's on Team Class 1A in this?
We got Yaoyorozu, Creati, Aoyama with his naval laser.
Can't stop twinkling.
Can't stop twinkling. Hagakure, Invisible Girl, and then
Little on the nose,
Tokuyami,
but okay.
Dark Shadow. So
So this match was, in my opinion, just as interesting as the first.
yeah, it was interesting because they had Kendo and Yaoyorozu talking at the beginning because they both interned together.
Yeah.
And they were in that commercial, and she's asking her why she didn't go out for the school festival's beauty contest.
Yeah,
And-
and Yaoyorozu kind of implied that their class was more focused on stuff that was important.
Yeah, and she kind of said
And
that it wasn't important to Aizawa. Like Aizawa didn't even mention it to her.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Kendo.
Aizawa's snark and focus is rubbing off on Class 1A. Because if you remember, at the school festival, whenever Aizawa was talking to Miss Joke, and Miss Joke was getting on him about not telling his students what was coming, and Aizawa said, well, maybe at UA we just look further into the future.
Yeah,
The
that was,
practical exam.
that was the provisional license exam.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like the one thing that really gets Aizawa heated is when people shit on UA. It
Yeah.
seems to me.
Sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool to see the captains of the team have some history together.
Yeah.
And then Kendo just says right out in the open, I don't like being lumped in the same box as you, and I've been wanting to fight you. And Yayarosa accepts the challenge and says something like, I full-heartedly will take you on.
All Class B does is project their insecurities onto Class 1A, in my
Well,
opinion. Because
I mean, Kendo's really
who's putting them in that box? Nobody has said that. Nobody's putting them in that box.
Well, because people were shouting Yayarosa's name while Kendo was on stage at the beauty pageant.
That's what she said. I mean, I don't remember seeing that, but that's what she said there.
Yeah, and then other characters were confirming that.
Yeah. So it's like we hadn't seen that, but it seems like they're trying to set that up now. That ever since that commercial's been out, they expected both of them to go into the beauty pageant.
Yeah, like attached at the hip.
And Kendo says specifically, your quirk is better than mine, and you do better in class than I do. So I don't like being lumped in with you, and I want to fight you. And prior to that, like Kendo's always been like the level-headed, nice person. So it's like she's like revealing like her insecurity.
A very competitive nature.
Somebody even said during this episode, if it wasn't for Kendo, we would have gotten
something by Mommy's Little Sociopath.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's because Seto, the tape cellophane, he was like, he said something about Kendo, and like Tetsu started just like yelling at him, and he's like, "Why are you yelling at me?" But Tetsu's like, "Yeah, Kendo's awesome. Like, she's so great, and she's so level-headed."
Tetsu has one volume. He can't control it.
If it wasn't for her, we would be succumbed to whatever his name's
Monoma.
Mustard?
Monama's like whatever word I'm trying to look for.
Like overt personality is basically the gist.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what's his name? Vanta Black and Tokoyami.
Yeah. Kendo says, let's see what they do first, then Tokoyami comes for them.
Yeah, it sends out Dark Shadow.
So then she goes, "Go ahead, Dark Vanta Black. You take the lead," basically.
Yeah. And then as Dark Shadow was doing its thing, we saw Vanta Black's ability where he pretty much controlled Dark Shadow and sent it back to Tokoyami and then said, "You're not going to be able to use this." And Tokoyami said, "That's fine." And everyone was like, "What's going on?" And we got flashbacks to when
right after
he
the
was
sports festival.
Intern for the sports festival, and then whenever they went back after
now I do want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, work study.
So the internship was the first thing with Hawks, where he and it was the first time Hawks had ever picked anyone to do an internship. So like Tokoyami was like real excited, but he was not keeping up.
Yeah,
he was just running on the ground, and Hawks was like doing stuff in the air, leaving him behind.
In my opinion, to me, it's like Hawks is the only hero we see so far that treats sidekicks like sidekicks.
Yeah.
Like they praise him for being indifferent to praise and all that stuff, but at the same time, we're seeing evidence of him being a total glory hog in this scene.
Yeah, like definitely whenever he like captures the guy, but then he leaves the sidekicks to like
deal with it,
and then he goes and does something else. It could be that he's just playing to his strengths and he's like, being efficient.
Yeah, and the two other aspiring heroes were kind of okay with this, but Tokoyami was not.
Because if you're taking in students for internships, you can't be that way.
Yeah, it's a whole different thing. Like sidekick, you signed up for it to be that way until you can take over, I would think. But internship, you're learning how to be a superhero still. I would think. I mean, I don't know. I think.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was
So-
just running around on the ground.
So,
Like,
but,
where's he at?
yeah, but then we get the reveal, I guess you could say, that Hawks wasn't interested in Tokiomi helping him fight. He wanted information on the League of Villains and wanted Tokiomi to spill the beans, spill the tea, as it were, on the USJ attack.
Right.
This was
And
very
Tokiomi-
frustrating for Tokiomi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was pissed. He said he's not a messenger bird.
Yeah.
So then when he went back for the work study, he was expecting.
I don't
the
know
same-
why. Like
And Hawks pulled him in and said, "I want to talk to you."
I was kind of
And-
surprised that he went back.
And he said, "Like I'm not telling you anything." And he was like, "That's not why this time." And he picked him up
But now it's better. It's way better.
and
'Cause
started
I
flying.
was pissed at Hawks until this.
Yeah. I was pissed too because I felt the same way as Tokiomi. I
Yeah.
was like, you know, he's like totally overlooking him, and then he in between the internship and the work study, you know, he says he worked really hard. I don't know what he did in between that time, but like I think he worked really hard because he wanted to go back and show him
Yeah.
he's gonna keep up
Hawks,
with him.
Hawks said that 20% of him choosing him was because they were birds of a feather.
Yeah.
He said there was
50%
50%
was the
of
USJ.
was the information, and the-
other
30.
and the 30% was because he thought he was wasting his potential. And
Yeah.
that's whenever he picked him up and started flying with him, and he took him up, and he said, "It's great that you are working on your weaknesses, but you should also work on your strengths.
Yeah.
And you should, if you
I
have
did
those who,
like his line.
those who
Yeah.
can fly should fly."
Yeah. So here we get confirmation that the movie happens after this.
Yeah,
Because the move that he uses, the Black
Dark
Fallen
Fallen.
Angel, is what we saw him use at the beginning of the movie.
oh yeah.
So no
Second
more
movie.
no more speculation. That's in the future.
Yeah, I watched it already then.
Yeah.
We all
I mean, everybody did because it's ridiculous to release a movie that's further ahead than your anime is. But
Yeah.
so Hawks has this way of constantly changing people's opinions on him.
Yeah, you're never quite sure where he stands.
he's kind of like, I think one is because he's young.
Yeah.
So he kind of goes by the fly of his seat or whatever, you know.
Flies on the seat of his pants.
Yeah,
But
and also like he is also cerebral. So he's like, I want the public to look at me like this. I want the other heroes to look at me like this.
But at the
want
same time, I kind of feel like he's just as self-centered as Bakugo is.
Maybe.
I kind of feel that. I mean,
he confuses me.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean,
When we first meet him with like Endeavor being #1 and him being #2, and he's saying all that stuff on the stage of the billboard thing, I'm like, what is up with this guy?
it's like you're a child. Like,
Yeah,
you're-
He didn't seem cerebral in that moment. He seemed crazy. Like
Yeah.
he's saying this, he's saying that. I'm like, what is wrong with him?
but it was all for a bigger.
he's a very complex character,
Yeah.
and that's why I like him.
Yeah, I can't figure him
I
out.
love complex characters.
I also like his character design.
So, Black Fallen Angel, Tokyomi's new move, in which he has Dark Shadow act in very much the same way that Hawks acted.
Right.
That's what that is to me. That's him actually taking something from that experience and using it.
Yeah, and Deku totally freaks out.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, "It's so obvious. Why didn't we see that this could happen?"
Well,
Oh
so
my
did
God.
well, that was
He's like, it's so obvious.
that was everybody's reaction.
He's probably writing it in his 7th notebook.
14th, please. Like,
Probably gonna break out in tears. You know.
but when he yelled, "Amazing! You're amazing, Tokiomi," I was like, "Yes, finally, someone else agrees."
Right.
Yeah.
So Tokiyomi basically pulls
That scene was so awesome.
Kendo out from the shadows.
Oh, he picks up
no.
Aoyama,
Yeah.
Oh,
who blasts.
Vanta Black picks up Aoyama, and we get the most amazing scream I've ever heard from Aoyama as he's getting carried up the pipe. So he tells Aoyama. Does he tell him to do it, or does Yaoyorozu tell him to do it?
I think Yaoyorozu does.
I think Yaoyorozu does, but he uses naval laser buffet, which is where he shoots like in all crazy directions, like no rhyme or reason, changing the lighting patterns, changing the shadows, throwing Vanta Black off his game.
Yeah, it forces him out of the pipes and out of the darkness.
Yeah.
Or wait, does he come out yet? Because then the thing that I thought was interesting was what Invisible Girl did. She used that warp refraction that like made all that light.
Yeah.
Which I was like,
how is she able to do this?
what is she like? Because I feel like we don't see enough of Invisible
Is that
Girl.
basically like, well, see enough?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like she doesn't do like anything.
It makes
and then,
me think, the way her body is, because it's completely transparent, it seems as though her body itself acts as a prism.
Yeah, it was like glass or something.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, she did something, warp refraction, that we had never seen before or knew that she was working on.
Yeah.
And then it made a big blast of light.
Right.
So
how do they get rid of Vanta Black? Tim, do you remember?
They force him out of the shadows.
Okay, but then what else happens? Other stuff happens, I'm sure.
I think they were gonna capture him, but then
yeah, Yaoyorozu said she was gonna do something. I think she was maybe gonna make something.
Well, she tried.
She was trying to capture him with the nets.
Yeah, she tried with those nets, but it didn't work the first time because they stuck him to a pipe and he was able to just go in.
I remember it was her and Invisible Girl standing there, and they were expecting to do something next.
No, she said that thing about it was also in my expectations, but then what happened? Something happened, and I can't remember what now.
He said, "Oh, you expected something,"
but then
then they were like, "Plan A didn't work, so Plan B."
The mushrooms. That's it.
Yeah. Kendo's like, Plan A didn't work, so go into Plan B, and that's where we see the little mushrooms.
Yeah, so Mushroom Girl starts making mushrooms.
They're popping
all
up
over the place
on Hagakure and on Yaoyorozu, like they're on them.
Yeah,
first,
and you're like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
And then they're popping up everywhere, and that's Plan B. You see, Komori say, the Mushroom Girl,
right?
Like Plan B, it is, or
whatever. Yeah, something.
Right, so that is what fades into the credits for this scene, for this episode, and in the preview, what happens in the preview?
I didn't take notes on that one.
Me either.
Tim, be involved.
Yeah, be involved. I didn't take any notes. So
the next episode is called. It's like one word.
Foresight.
Foresight. Yeah, and it looks like.
Which made me sad because
on Yaoyorozu's decision making.
Yeah.
It's much like whenever her and Todoroki went against Aizawa. It seems like in the first match, Class B is going to have Class A on the ropes, and Class A is going to have to fight from behind.
Yeah.
So, and it seems like, and Kendo is somewhere kind of controlling the narrative of Class B.
Right.
She's not visual to everyone, but she's definitely somehow communicating, or has already communicated every little plan and detail of what's going to happen.
This is definitely going to culminate with a one-on-one throwdown between Yajirozu and Kendo.
Yes, and I want it.
Yeah,
it has to. I don't understand right now, and hopefully, it'll make more sense next week, and hopefully, it'll be cool about these mushrooms.
Yeah.
What is that shit? Like, is she just Mineta? Like, but less cooler? Like, I like the balls actually do stuff. What do the mushrooms do?
Yeah, she's putting them everywhere.
It seems like when they were popping up on Hagakure on Yajirozu, it seems like that was just meant to distract.
Yeah, but then they popped up everywhere, so they have to do something, like emit some type of gas, or like I don't know, because otherwise that's lame as shit, and she should probably just go be.
I mean, there's way lamer quirks.
Well, I'm excited to see the other person, Comic Man, because his face is like manga. His name is manga, and he looks like manga. And I think
I wonder what his power is.
I think it's like, I read somewhere, but I'm not sure. It's something like he can. I don't know if it's that he can speak things into existence or what. That's why I'm like anxious to see what he's gonna do in this next episode.
Maybe he's a lot like the Naruto character Sai, where he just draws stuff and it comes to be.
In that way, he might be pretty similar to Yajirozu.
Yeah, that's true.
Although, if he's able to make like living things, that would be the benefit over Yajirozu that he has.
Right. Well, we're gonna see next week.
So, MVP of the episode, Tokiyami.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
Kendo.
And Kendo, yeah.
Kendo for strategy, I guess.
Mind games.
Coolest visual is Tokiyami flying and Vanta Black moving through those pipes. I love that.
Yeah.
That whole scene with him saving Oyama was chef's kiss.
Out of bounds.
So, next week at 5 p.m. on Sunday, you will see us here again.
Yeah.
For episode 94, which is called
Foresight.
We're
I don't know why they had to make it sound like I don't know why they had to call it Foresight and remind everybody that Mr. Night Eye's dead.
That's true.
Like, why'd they do that?
Why do you have to?
Well,
rude.
Be like Mirio, and be like Deku, and be like Tokyo.
Mirio has the personality of a golden retriever.
Try it. You can get there.
Yeah.
Golden retriever?
Yeah.
Yes.
Puppy.
Now, so come back next week for that episode. And while you're gone, go beyond.
Plus Ultra.
You gotta do the hand thing, Brianna.
Oh. Here it is.